Canine Academy, glad you are here. Wow, what a day. There's a huge fire over in Anaheim, which is just right over there, a couple miles away. And it is the smoke and everything you can see. It's a kind of a crazy day. The training's got to continue, Charlie, regardless. There's nothing else I can do. I can't continue to watch news broadcasts. Just make sure it's not coming in our direction. About 6 or 7 years ago, I was just writing that the fire did jump the freeway and come across, and it was only 2 blocks away about 5 or 6 years ago, and it stopped just short of our housing tract that I'm in. But right now it looks like it's going the other direction. So we're going to continue on Charlie's training here. Again, as I did last time, I'm using a new audio system. I just want to make sure good. Everything's working positively good. All right, I'm going to put a link right here. If you have not been a part of one of our broadcasts before and have not had a chance to click on a paper that I wrote calling Training Your Dog with Love and Respect, I'm going to put it right here in the comment section. I meant to put it in the description, but as I was putting things on, of course I forgot. But it'll be in the comment section. So just click on that, put your name and email address in there, and I'll send you that free report for Training Your Dog with Love and Respect. So it's about day 4. The reason I say about day 4, I got the flu the other day, so that knocked me out for about a day and a half, if not 2 days. And so kind of lost track. We began, as you saw on the video, if you're just to scroll down the last live video we did with Charlie, was introducing the concept to him of marrying the odor of the live bed bugs with his toy. So we just started it on that very first video. You saw the very beginning of him being introduced to sniffing the cinder blocks that we're going to be using. You'll see those in just a moment. And you saw me put the tennis ball with the live bed bugs. There's about 4 vials of live bed bugs. In each vial, there's about 5 live bugs. Right? They're adults. And so in there, if you want to understand more doing that description and how I did that back then is all in that video. So if you missed it, you may want to go back and watch that. So now here we are in about day 4. And what I've been doing is I've been cutting the tennis ball down. Oh, yeah, I have one here. So we go from the large and full, let me go in front of the whiteboard. So the full full large tennis ball in front of the whiteboard is what we started with. As we go through each one of the days, so really about 2.5 days of doing this exercise, we did the first 2 days with just the tennis ball, just to teach him the game, understanding that when he finds the odor, we're trying to teach him to find, which is the tennis ball right now mixed with the live bed bug odor, that he will get his toy, a secondary toy. In other words, this one will come out of my pocket and be presented to him. In the time following that, it was about the end of day 2, I reduced it down to half a tennis ball. And what this does is it then begins to reduce the odor of the tennis ball that's in the cinder block with the same amount of bed bugs. So I maintain the 4 vials of bed bugs, again, having about 5 live bed bugs in each one of those. I maintain that size and that amount while reducing the size of the tennis ball. So I went from a whole tennis ball to half a tennis ball. Again, if I put it on the whiteboard, you can see now this is a half a tennis ball. We then cut that tennis ball in half, and then I began using a quarter of a tennis ball, I guess, somewhere around there. Oh, I see my screen is freezing up. Hopefully, there we go. And then I did that. Then what we do is we cut it in half. And so we take a pair of scissors and cut that in half. And now we have a half of the quarter, whatever that would be in mathematics. I don't know. I went to a public school, so I don't know that much. And now what I'm doing for today is we're going to go down to a little tiny piece of tennis ball. So now, if you can now imagine that now the odor has remained the same over the last several days, right? Of 4 bed bug vials with about 5 live bed bugs in them now. Maybe 1 or 2 have died off since I got them, but again, it's about the same. And now I'm reduced down to a small piece of tennis ball. By the time you see the next video, the tennis ball will be gone out of the cinder block and will begin moving out of the cinder block scenario. The reason we use the cinder blocks is because I can guarantee that the dog is smelling all the cinder blocks that we're using. Right now we have 6, and in each one of the 6 there are vials that are empty, dead bed bugs, and plastic bags. Again, I explained this all in the first one, why we do that. So I make sure the dog puts his nose in, smells all those things, and now when he comes to the cinder block, there's this little tiny piece of tennis ball, which has still a little bit of it in there, but now the odor of the bed bugs, the live bed bugs, is now the majority of that odor. It's different than all those cinder blocks. And then pretty soon we're going to take this one out. So now it becomes only about the live bed bug odor, because again, in all the other cinder blocks, we have plastic bags and vials and dead bed bugs, right? So we're making about the only thing different between the one where he's now showing interest and all the rest is that there's live bed bugs. You see how that works? So now we're still just going to reduce it down to this one last little piece of tennis ball. That's where we're at now. So over the last several days, we've been kind of just doing that, reducing the size of the tennis balls, maintaining the amount of bed bugs that we're using from the very beginning, minus a couple dead bed bugs that died just because of the die. and there you go. All right, so we're reducing it down. All right, I see that you're on. I can see people are watching. So would you mind just putting your, I can see your name when you comment, but comment in the Falco Canine Academy Facebook page. I understand that I'm syndicating out to other Facebook pages. If you want to comment so I can see it, that would be great. That you would find that in the Falco Canine Academy Facebook page. Click on that link, which is at the top near the title. If you're watching, the Bed Bug Secret group or the Healthy Dog Network, if you're there, look at the top. You'll see Falco Canine Academy. Click on that and then comment and tell me who you are, where you're watching from, and anything else, any questions you might have about what it is we're doing, or anything you don't like about what it is you're doing. There's something you may not like about what it is we're doing. All right, so I'm going to switch cameras. Excuse the lighting difference here because I've had to switch the lights around so that I have lighting area over where we're going to be doing the training, and then here in my studio I use one of the lights so the lighting looks a little odd. I think to me it does, but it may not to you. But I'm going to go here from here, my studio position here, over into the training area. I'm going to get Charlie out. And I just moved the cinder block back where it was on the first video that you saw. That way, I'm kind of stepping from that position into the next step so you can see what I'm going to be doing. And I'll be explaining most of everything that I can. I will be away from my comments, but don't hesitate to comment because when I get done with the training over there, I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at the comments to see if any of you had any questions or anything you said that may pique an interest in what it is we're doing. Make sure and don't forget, if you have not got this training report right here, that you click on that link to get our training report on training your dog with love and respect. Also, don't forget to give us 5 stars on our Facebook page to let us know that you like what it is we're doing. Hey, Chris. Yes, that's going to come. That's going to come. I don't do that yet. So Chris asked, can you tell us how you get him to sit when he finds the bugs? Yes, that comes down later. Right now, we only focus on this one important thing, and that is imprinting the odor in the dog's brain, in his olfactory system. We want to make sure that he understands that that odor means something, that odor is actually leading to his toy, that it's the connection that he has to his toy, that when he finds that live bed bug odor, right now I only want him to think about just that it gets him his toy. As time goes on, then what I'll end up doing is I will then be teaching the dog to sit. The dog I'm teaching to sit separately, which again we'll talk about in just a moment. But right now we don't do that yet. But yes, in a future video, we're going to then be bringing in the sit and getting the dog to sit as he gets to the odor. All right. So I'm going to be changing over. Hey, Falco Canine Dog Training. This is such a great trainer. Such a great trainer. She's fantastic. I'm just, as a matter of fact, we are sitting here. We're right in the middle between the fire. Gina and I are. She's here also in Orange County. The fire is like just a mile or two away from both of us, and we're waiting to get called on to have either we come and rescue some people and their dogs, or the people come to our house, or at least my house to stay. I'm not sure if she opened her house yet. I don't want to volunteer her house, but people are more than welcome to come over to the house and stay if they get evacuated for their homes. All right. Hey, Doug, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Hey, Trina, glad to see you. Nice. I'm glad to see these comments coming in. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I hope that they are good, and I hope that you're getting something from them. All right. So yes. So we're bringing in the sit. And I think that was it. That was all I was talking about. All right. So I'm going to switch over to my other camera and show you what it is we're going to be doing over there. And again, don't hesitate to put questions into the comment section so I can read them. All right. So to make it easy for you, I put the label, or the label has always been on there. It's an old label that we used to hand out to the kids when we do our training, but it says Falco Canine Academy on there. But that label is on the block that we're using, that we have the live bed bugs. Again, the live bed bugs are inside this block, inside these vials, inside of a plastic bag. Again, if you want to understand a little bit more about the plastic bag and all that kind of stuff, here, I'll bring this closer. I think if I get too close, it'll actually be blurry, and I don't want to mess up the camera. So hopefully I didn't do that just now. But the bed bugs, the live bed bugs are in here. And inside this vial now, remember, in the beginning, we had the whole tennis ball inside that vial. So now you can see I'm reducing it down to this little piece to make sure that there's still a little bit of tennis ball, because we still don't completely have it strong in the dog's head. At least We probably don't. We might already, but just in case, we don't want to skip a step. One of the things that's dangerous for dog trainers is that we get into a hurry. And so as we cut the ball in half, we're thinking, well, the next thing we do is just take out the half. And then we end up having the dog searching a long period of time, and it's confused because we haven't taken the time to incrementally bring the size of the tennis ball down. And regardless if this dog could do it without the little piece of tennis ball, I don't want to skip it, because then I don't want to have to come back and put the whole big tennis ball back in there again, because that can happen, right? The dog can get confused. Then all the training we did just can kind of slip backwards just a little bit, and I don't want to do that. So instead of doing that, I make sure and go through all my steps and making sure I cut it in half, then cut the half in half, and then cut the half of the half in half, and keep on going until I get that little tiny piece. All right, so now I take and put this ball back here or underneath my armpit where I most often put it. You'll see me put it here probably more often than anywhere else. But right now I'm going to put it in my back pocket. Again, I have the dog, Charlie, inside of a crate. I have the leash on the dog. That way, when he comes out, I don't have to try to put the leash on. The cleaner I can make it so the dog coming out of the crate and begin the searching, and less about wrestling with him to get the leash on, because he's a very excited dog. And all that extra stuff takes away from training. I want to minimize all the external distractions, extra things I have to do in order to get the dog set up to do the training, because it just makes things go quicker and makes things clearer for the dog. It doesn't take away from the black and white type of training that I like to do. All right, so the leash is hanging on the outside here. I just get a hold of the leash just like this. I open the door, dog comes out. Good, nice job, buddy. How are you? How are you? Nice. All right, this is his second session for the day. Earlier this morning, I did a training session, so this is the second one. All right, Charlie. All right. So I can show him his tennis ball, bounce it, make sure he doesn't get it, put it underneath my armpit. Now he thinks it's where to go. And he starts searching the cinder blocks. Now I want him to show interest, so you see how he stays at that one a little bit longer? Nice. I like that he stuck his nose in once or twice, right? And stuck his nose in there and he breathed in the odor. That is such good stuff. I get so excited. And you want to pet the dog, let him know he did a good job. If I had the garage door open, I'd probably throw the ball down onto the grass. He'd go down and chase it and have a lot more fun with it. You don't want to take the ball away right away, because then that's a little bit of a downer for the dog. I don't necessarily like to pet the dog when he's up on top of me like that. He got his foot stuck on the wire for my mic, so I didn't want him to pull it up. But I want to pet the dog, let him know he's doing a good job. When he jumps on me, I stop. When his feet are back on the ground, I start petting him again. Again, it's for future that I'm not encouraging bad behavior by having the dog jump on me, which will then be handed down to the handler when I give him the dog, or her the dog, right? So we don't want to develop bad habits. All right, so since he doesn't like to give the ball up very easily, I'm going to make sure and have the collar in the right spot, nice and tight. Now you can see he's already sitting down. He's preparing, and then I'm going to say, no. So much faster than the first video. All right, we'll do this one more time. Find it. See, now he goes right to the right block. Oh. Sniffing it again. I'm going to wait until he sniffs his nose back in there one more time. Nice. Good boy. Good boy. So you see when the reward comes here. Actually, let me put him back up. Good boy. Let me praise him up. Good boy. Don't want to take it away too fast. Good. Nice. Nice. So what he's looking at the door that leads into the backyard. So he thinks after we get done here, he gets his toy. He wants to run out in the backyard and keep the toy a little bit longer. But we're going to do one more session. Good boy. Nice. Get the tennis ball back. Nice. Very good. Good. One easy way to get a dog in a crate that doesn't like to go into a crate is you take a little bit of kibble. Oh, let me actually move this over. Doesn't like the noise. Get a little bit of a kibble, right? And you throw it in the crate. And he goes right in. You don't have to wrestle with him. So a very easy way of getting that dog in. Leave the leash out, again, so that I can have access to it. All right. So what I was going to say is, when the dog is sniffing, and if he sniffs and then goes away and then comes back and sticks his nose back down there, that's when you want to reward. You don't want to reward when he just simply comes back and is kind of hovering over the top. You want to make sure that he sticks his nose back in there again, takes a whiff of the odor, which is the small piece of tennis ball and the live bed bugs. And I'm sure that he's getting that odor in his olfactory system, and then you reward. Because remember, you're trying to connect that tennis ball with the odor. The one thing you don't want to do is just, again, have him kind of hovering, or maybe he sticks his nose in and turns and looks at you, and then he sees the tennis ball coming out. Right now, I'm really trying to connect that tennis ball with the odor. So I want to make sure that his head is down and smelling as best I can. Now, I run a lot of these videos, right? And just like any dog trainer, we make mistakes. We're too slow. We can't get the ball out of our pocket or out from our armpit or what have you, or it hits maybe the doorknob and bounces off somewhere. Things happen. But the more often you can be correct, the faster things will go. The more mistakes you make, it slows things down. So again, if you just have in your head, when his nose is in the cinder block, he's smelling as when I reward, then you keep it as simple as possible. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these around. So you want to be careful not to break the vials and move them around. And so we'll have it on the end now. So you can see he's one of the smart ones. He actually began to learn where that block was, right? Because we've done it a couple times there before. So he went almost right to that one that time. So now when I bring him out, I'm going to start the search from this side with the leash in my right hand and begin the search in this direction so that he has to come down. He'll probably hesitate, which you'll see he'll do a positioning thing where he'll stop and he'll begin to smell where he thinks it was. And you also have some people have this thought. You must remember that those bugs have now been there since, I don't even know what time it is. Probably since about, let's say I did the first training at about 10 o'clock this morning. I've left them there. So about 3 hours, those live bed bugs have been there. So could there be odor in the surrounding area? Yes, it's possible, right? But the majority of the odor right now is still going to be inside this cinder block. So what we're essentially doing, not necessarily on purpose, but kind of by accident, but because we know about it and we have knowledge that now it kind of is on purpose, is we're teaching the dog to leave residual odor of live bed bugs. If this was marijuana, residual odor of marijuana or cocaine or heroin or explosives, leave the residual odor, right? Discount it a little bit. You can show interest in it, but we want you to discount it and move and see if you can find a stronger odor somewhere else. And this is kind of great training, perfect training for a detection dog, kind of by accident, because we do have to move it at some point. So understand that there's going to be some residual odor. The dog will then maybe stop, hesitate, and I'm not going to do anything. He's going to go, well, he's not doing anything. I must move on. The dog will move on and then find the right one. He'll stick his head in there and he'll get a larger portion of the odor that we're trying to train. All right. So I hope I may have answered any questions that somebody might have had in their head. All right. So I'm going to, again, get the leash, get the dog out. Right now, I'm not worrying about obedience either. I'm not worrying about obedience, about him shooting out of the kennel. I usually don't like a dog when he shoots right out of the crate or kennel. But again, we're not worried about that, because if we try to do too many things and put too many things into the training, it just causes confusion. So you can see how right away I'm able to get a hold of the leash. I have the tennis ball in my pocket. I can show it to him now, put it underneath my armpit, and now again he thinks it's gone. Put the leash in my right arm, my right hand, because I'm going to be directing with my left hand over to this very first cinder block. So here, check. Good, nice. He stays a little bit longer, sticks his nose back in there. See if he does it again. Sticks his nose back in there. Nice, nice. Good boy, good boy. Sorry if I'm yelling in the mic, but I got to make sure he knows that he's doing a good job. Good boy. Nice. I'm going to leave it at that one. All right, so I'm just going ahead and leave it there. I'm gonna probably, after I turn the cameras off, I'll probably do one more search or two more searches after that. All right, very good. All right, let's get that ball. Good. He sits right away now. He's getting so good at this. Oh, I just ruined it. Sit down. Leave it. Nice, very good. Good. So what I want him to do is learn when I put my hands on the tennis ball that he should probably let go. All right. Since I'm not going to bring him out right away for a camera, I'm going to take off the leash just in case I don't want him chewing it. Little food. He goes right in. Good. All right. I'm going to come back to my other spot over here. Whew. Whew. All right. I'm going to catch my breath. All of you talk amongst yourself. I love this kind of stuff. All right. Let's see. Where did I leave off? On standby to help people. Good. So Gina's on standby to help people out there in Anaheim. All right. She then asks, I assume the timing of the second sniff and the reward is important so he doesn't start scratching at the scent. Yes, yes, that is one of the things that we don't like to see. Earlier, when I wasn't on camera, he did pull the cinder block over and then expose the tennis ball, or the piece of tennis balls in there, and then tried to pick it up, and then I rewarded him. No, what I do? Oh, then I put it back in. I fixed it, put his nose back in there, and then I rewarded him when his nose went back in there. Sometimes if the tennis ball is still whole when they do that, they get the tennis ball, and now it is harder to get a dog not to do that. And so, yeah, you're right. We don't necessarily want that. Sometimes the dog's too fast, and we'll put his paw up there and grab the cinder block really fast. And if the tennis ball, if we're in the beginning stages and the tennis ball is still there, it's very hard to beat the dog from getting to the tennis ball, not beat him physically, just be faster than him before he gets the tennis ball. And then that opens up a whole can of worms that you have to now work the dog through. Yes. So yeah, we don't want the dog necessarily scratching or pulling it over. I'm surprised it hasn't happened with Charlie that much. Today, I think, was the first time that he did that. It really didn't stick with him because we saw here that he just stuck his nose in there 3 or 4 times. And so what happened earlier was not a big issue, but that can be a pain in the butt when they start doing that, and getting them to stop is not that easy. We had a dog in the last 2 that we had. It was actually the other dog that went up north who had a little bit of an issue with scratching. So that was a really good comment there, Gina. Chris, how do you slow down the search? Ollie is so fast, he can seem out of control. Good question. So Chris over at Find It Canine Detection, you need a picture. I don't know why you don't have a picture there, but we need your picture, Chris, or the dog's picture. So how do you slow a dog down? And that is one way of doing that. If his energy is so high, because the dog can work so fast that it appears that they're missing cracks and crevices. And then after about 3 minutes into the search, and maybe even sometimes 5 minutes in search, then they finally start settling down and searching. If I'm sorry, I think the smoke in the air is affecting my voice, and I apologize. But if you only have like maybe 3 rooms in a house to search, for instance, what you can do is play fetch with the dog out in front of the house, maybe 5 to 10 repetitions to burn out some of that energy that the dog is building up by sitting in the crate waiting to do the search. The drive to a job, the dog can understand that that he's on his way to go do a search, and he gets all excited, gets amped up. And then he's bottling it up, right? Because he's inside the crate or inside the car. And then you open the door to get him the search. And then now that energy's got to all come out, right? And so to minimize that, you may have to play fetch with the dog just a little bit. And that's one way. If you have lots of rooms to search, like maybe you're searching 25 rooms at a hotel or a dorm or something like that, you want to make sure that the first 3 rooms that you're searching are not the red flag rooms. So if you have, say you have rooms 1 through 15, and rooms 1 through 3 are where they think they might have bed bugs. I'm so sorry. The first 3 rooms might be the red flag rooms, right? So what you want to do is search rooms, did I say 15? I forgot what I said. Maybe 13, 14, and 15 first, because they're so far away from the primary rooms that the likelihood of him missing something in there is not likely. And there's never been any reports, that kind of stuff. So search the rooms that are not likely to have bed bugs, and have him use up some of his energy in those rooms. And then at the peak of his energy, now you go to rooms 1, 2, and 3. Does that make sense? So you have a dog that was selected because he has the desire, the energy to search, right? We need to have that, or else you're not going to search 25 rooms. You're not going to get through 2 rooms. So you don't want to, sometimes we use pinch collars and things to slow a dog down. But again, that now adds a little bit of stress. It adds a conflict to him searching. The dog's searching, but now he's getting corrected for searching. So it adds a little bit of a conflict that I don't like to do unless I really have to. So use that energy in a way, just search rooms, allow the energy to kind of just naturally become less, because now he's using the energy up. And now when he's at his peak, go to those those potential red flag rooms where you're going to have the dog at his highest peak. So those are 2 things that I can think of right off the bat. A lot easier than those bite work videos you put up the other day. Yes. I was watching a few of those. I got so many years of doing bite work. I got bad shoulders. My back was out the other day just simply because I breathed wrong. And so my back went out. And I'm thinking, and I was watching those videos, I was thinking, no wonder my back, I'm surprised my back isn't worse than it is. and my shoulders aren't worse than they are. But yeah, the aches and pains I have in my shoulders from taking all those bites for 20 some odd years. Yes, Gina, you are correct. It is a lot better. Makes sense. I'm thinking of what I just talked about, 16, 13. Yeah, that came in a minute ago. All right, yeah. So just use that energy. Don't try to minimize it through obedience yet, because that's one thing you can do. That the problem with that is I think that you're now then making that energy a bad thing, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing. He was selected based on his energy, but now we're trying to tell him that don't have that energy, right? And so there can be a little bit of conflict. The Malinois doesn't seem to be as affected by stuff like that as maybe a Labrador Retriever or even the German Shepherd. German Shepherds, they have some energy. If you correct them at the wrong time, doing the wrong thing, you can actually set them back pretty easily because they're a little bit more sensitive that way of a dog. Belgian Malinois just aren't that sensitive, and you can give them a leash correction from hell, and they'll turn around and go and do the same thing that they just did. You won't hurt their feelings at all. But sometimes a Labrador Retriever, sometimes a German Shepherd, you want to be careful that you're not using conflict in their training that we've tried to build up to make it the best it could possibly be. And now when it's at its peak, we're telling them no, and the dog goes, well, screw you, then I'm not going to do it. So you just want to be very careful. Searching a hotel, how many rooms? When searching a hotel, how many rooms or how many hours do you allow a dog to search before he gets sloppy or tired or bored? That is one of those questions that I love to answer in the way that I hate to answer, and that is it depends. It all depends on the dog. Again, we can go through those breeds again, Malinois, Labrador Retriever, German Shepherd, Springer Spaniel. They all have their different levels of energy that they can maintain for a period of time. And it also has to do with distractions, and it also has to do with the temperature or the weather conditions where you're searching. So all those three things are a factor. In the case of, say, residential apartments in a kind of a nasty apartment complex where every tenant is kind of that just not very clean type of person, and your dog's energy is going to drop very fast because there's so many things that olfactory system is trying to work through. The food that's in the cushions of the couch, the dirty diapers that are maybe not only in the trash can but might be underneath the couch, the nastiness of dog and food in the carpet area. And so a dog that has to search through that is going to tire faster because their brain's going, I want food. I want to smell the other dog odor. Oh yeah, I'm looking for bed bugs. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to not do that. Oh yeah, the handler's getting pissed. Oh yeah, right. And so now the dog's brain, remember, dogs get tired faster mentally than they do physically, right? So that can tire a dog out, and it can knock you down fast. The difficulty of the room to search, if it's like a hoarder and that kind of stuff, that's going to make it more difficult. Some breeds can last longer than others. German Shepherd does pretty well, but they don't last nearly as long as maybe a Belgian Malinois. Depending on the weight on the Labrador Retriever, if the Labrador Retriever is in really good shape, he's going to last longer than the Labrador Retriever that's out of shape. Springer Spaniel, sometimes because they're so mean and lean, they can go a really long time and not be that distracted. So the number of rooms and the number of hours is going to be greatly different between one dog and the next, and one breed to the next, and one condition over the next. Your job as a handler is to know when to quit, right? That's your job. As the manager of the search, your job is to make sure that his dog is at his peak level, as close to his peak level as possible during the entire time he's searching. So you have to know when your dog's attention to detail and their desire to search changes. And just a little bit before that is when you stop and take a break. All right. So over time, you're going to begin to learn when my dog takes a dump, right? Not seriously, not a real dump, but when this dump in energy, drops, you're going to know when that is, no matter what condition and no matter what the temperature is, right? Again, if it's hot as opposed to cold, that's going to change, right? So knowing when when your dog's peak level is going to make a significant drop, you want to stop before that. Give your dog a break. Go find a cool room in the house or a tree shade. Get your dog some water. Relax. Try to get him to relax as much as possible. You don't want to take a break near a fence where there's a dog on the other side, because the dog's not going to relax when that's the case. You're going to want to go someplace away from other dogs, cats, birds, squirrels, and all that kind of stuff the best you can, and give the dog a break in that area. And then when you see the dog's tongue go back in, because, when he's tired, his tongue's kind of like hanging out here or off to the side of his mouth. This is the side of his mouth, by the way. This is the front side of his mouth, and it's dangling, right? And then as he's resting, the tongue now kind of just comes out the front just a little bit. Now you're ready to go back and search, right? But when it's out here, you need to wait. He's not going to be able to search because he can't effectively smell through his mouth and his nose when his tongue is hanging out like that. So you got to wait until it gets better. So I hope that answered the question. I know I went on for a really long time. Find a canine. Did you mean make sense? So funny. Yep. All right, good. All right. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and do one more since I have more time. I have battery left on the other camera. I'm just going to go ahead and bring him out and do one more, and then give him, take him out into the, or send him out in the backyard so he can go get some water. So let me go ahead and switch cameras really quick. I'll do one more. So now you'll see what I'm talking about when I'm trying to get a lead on a dog that doesn't already have the lead on. Right. So here we have our hasp, and now I got to get the dog. I got to find the right one. Yeah. He wasn't as normal. Oh, there we go. He wasn't as normal crazy. I would normally like to have it on a dead ring, but he's not pulling on the leash. He's not tugging on it really hard. So the fact that he's on the live ring is not a big deal in the searching. But if during the search he's pulling and choking himself, then I wouldn't want it on the live ring. We'd want it on a dead ring. All right. Oh, yeah. I remember that. All right. So on the tennis ball, put it underneath my armpit. He's so confused. Where'd it go? Search. Nope. He missed the first one, so I'm going to bring him back. I don't have enough room to circle. There we go. I'm going to change positions to make sure that he stays there. Good. So he moved on his own. So I'm changing. See what happened there? My body pulled him off. Nice. Nice. Oh, where'd it go? He lost the tennis ball. Get it, buddy. So this happens, right? Where the tennis ball goes somewhere where we have no idea. Hold on. I want to be off camera for a second. I want to find him his tennis ball. So let's say that happened just like it did just now. I'm going to find the tennis ball. I'm going to put it back underneath my armpit. I'm going to grab the leash, and we are going to do it again. All right. So this isn't going to be anything that's going to break him or hurt him. As a matter of fact, it gives, hey, Charlie, it's going to give him tolerance. All right. So now he's searching around because he thinks maybe it bounced off and he lost it again. This is such great stuff. I'm glad this happened. It gives us alternatives so you can see what you do when things happen. So he's sticking his head, eyes. Nope, there it is again. Get it. Good boy. Good boy. All right, so none of that kind of stuff will break your dog when it happens, when you lose the tennis ball and it goes off to Neverland. And so just to make sure, we're going to do it one more time because that's not exactly the one we necessarily want to end on, unless something happens so good that we can turn it into the best. Hey, nope. Hey, no, good. All right, let's do it again. Nice, good. Good. So you can see how quickly just a little thing will cause a little bit of a hiccup where the dog now begins to search around because now he's thinking, well, I missed it the first time. Nice, there you go. That's the one we wanted. Good boy. I'm glad we decided to do it again. Good. So now he's going over the area where the tennis ball went. So you can see how easily in the beginning stages, when little things happen, how far it could set you back. And again, this is not ending anything as far as his progress. It just as a little tiny setback that I'm so glad kind of happened. Now, I don't force it to happen because I'd rather not have an incident happen. But I would, but when it does, we can't look at it as, oh, crap, we just ruined the dog. Okay, I'm going to go off camera 1 second because I'm going to be putting him in the backyard so we can go get some water. Come on, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. All right. So he's going to go get some water. I'm going to come back. Nice. All right. All right. So good stuff. Good little accident, a good training moment there where the bouncy ball goes flying somewhere that you have no idea where it's going to go. And now you see kind of what I'm talking about. When you have little things happen, and when you're in a perfect world, we can continue on, right? And nothing bad happens. But sometimes I wonder if that would not be that great, right? I think that every so often when something happens that causes us a little conflict and the dog has to learn through that conflict and then realizes, hey, in the end, it's still the same thing. I still have to find the odor to get that ball that I want. And when I do, eventually he's going to learn to sit. I get my ball, right? No matter what else happens, it could, the refrigerator could fall over. Refrigerator falls over, it doesn't matter. I still search, I find the odor, And again, eventually I sit and I get my toy. Sometimes I hear the ball hit something and I heard it. Where'd it go? Right? He's looking around trying to find it. We just reset. We do it again. His nose goes in the right one. We give him the reward. And now he goes, all right, well, I guess no matter, even if I hear it, it's still got to happen from the source of odor, right? So we want to even play with the little accidents that occur, little bad things that happen from time to time, and rebound, right? The fact that it went underneath, there's a footstool over here where that's where the ball actually went. He couldn't find it. I just pick it up, put it in my armpit. I start all over again, right? Some people might feel, well, I got to give him the reward really fast. Nah, that's probably not the best thing to do. The best thing we do is make sure that he goes back to the odor. He smells it. You reward him over there, right? That's the best thing. By giving him the toy over here, people think, well, I'm rewarding him for what he did earlier. Well, now we've got time that has gone by. The connection is lost, right? Is it going to hurt him by not rewarding him there? No. By not rewarding him there, it's not going to hurt anything. He still made the find earlier. He still got the sound of being rewarded, right? It's kind of like click and treat, right? The click happened, but he just didn't get the ball in his mouth. So what we're going to do is take him back to where he can get the ball in his mouth. Again, it's always about the odor and connecting those two things together. Make sense? So again, I know a lot of handlers that would have rewarded, like, oh, here's the ball, and kicked it out to him. Like, and I go, oh, you've missed an opportunity. The connection is too late. He's now getting rewarded for finding it somewhere else, right? Finding the tennis ball somewhere else, or just being present somewhere else. The time is lost. The connection is lost. So come back and do it again, and not that big of a deal. All right. So I hope that was helpful. That was just by accident. I didn't mean to do that. And then we found a better way to reward him. We ended on a more positive note, and he goes outside, gets some water, and he's a happy dog. He's going to get fed now. He's going to have a good night. All right. Let's keep our friends in Anaheim and Orange and Tustin, where these fires are occurring right now. It's just out of control. That's a lot of acreage is being burned, and houses are being taken out one at a time out there. I already know of at least, I think, 10 houses that have been burnt down out there in Anaheim Hills. So keep them in your prayers. And again, if anybody needs help that may be watching, I doubt you're watching a video on dog training right now while your house is burning down. But if you have any friends out there that get a hold of you and say, hey, we have nowhere to go, my doors are open to anybody that needs a place to stay overnight. and then figure out what they're going to do tomorrow when the fire's down, and they can go back and figure out what they're going to do. All right. So the house is open to anybody that needs assistance. All right. That is it. I hope that was a good training session for you, and I will see you at the next one. Take care. Bye.